Hey everybody, welcome back to Urban Meyer's Pint House. This is the Lettermen Row weekend kickoff brought to you by Bryant Heating and Cooling Systems. As Schlegel has been counting down for us, we're down under 10 days. I think it's 9 now. Next Saturday, the Buckeyes are finally going to be back on the field. Wow, that's some juice.
Yep.
Getting ready. Anthony Schlegel down on the end, Bobby Carpenter, Michael Bennett, Zach Boren, Robert Landers. I am just Austin Ward. We got a new look this week. I think we went with the five-man fronts like we're just at the bar here chatting with you guys. What do you guys think of this look?
It's a six-man front.
Well,
it's
I don't
bear front.
I don't count. I'm just the coach.
Oh, fair enough.
Yeah. So under front is what that would be. We'd have a Sam linebacker, an end, 2 D tackles, and another end. Yeah.
I'm a DN.
Third and fourth grade football, we call it fist-O defense.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
That was more than I expected on that
You're
breakdown.
welcome. You're welcome. I can break anything down.
We're talking about Schlegel.
Yeah.
It surprised you.
He can fit it in anywhere. He can get it going.
Touche. Yep.
Don't worry about that. Just so you guys know, as you can tell, that weather is changing out there. As college football fans, we love the fall, but we all know fall means cold weather. It's around the corner. Is your furnace ready? Whether it's a quick fix or you need a whole new system, your Central Ohio Bryant Heating and Cooling dealers will do whatever it takes to make sure your system is up to the task. You can rely on them to provide exceptional service and make sure you and your family stays comfortable all winter long. Be sure to schedule your fall tune-up today. Find your local Bryant professional at Bryant.com. Bryant, doing whatever it takes. Boys, the Buckeyes are doing whatever they can, whatever it takes to get ready for Nebraska on October 24th. I think the official verdict, Zach, is that training camp is over and game prep has begun. What's the difference between a training camp practice and then that first game prep?
You know what? It goes in phases, right? We've talked about it week over week now. When you first start training camp, you're really getting into game shape, right? You need to start hitting. You need to start taking hits. You know, we had the big debate last week about Justin Fields, whether he's taking hits or not, right? But you have to – it goes conditioning shape, football shape, right? When you're hitting guys, wearing pads, and now you're starting to phase it out to, hey, getting the body right, feeling fresh, getting out there. You're going to have a really tough practice next Tuesday, right? Coach Meyer used to call it Bloody Tuesday, one-on-ones, full-on scrimmage. But at that point, you're getting ready for that Saturday game. And I know this year is going to be different than others, and Ryan Day's really good at making sure those guys are ready to go. But, you know, those guys didn't really have that off-season program that Coach Mick has had, right, for so long, and Coach Mick's known for. So those guys really grinded at the beginning of camp to get into shape as quickly as possible and then phased off so their bodies can be ready come next Saturday.
Mike, what do you think?
Yeah, I'd like to echo what Zach said, mostly about, you know, getting into football shape. But a big part of it also is finding out who your leaders are, finding out who's going to step up in those crunch time situations. So in camp, you can put them in those stressful situations and find out who's going to lead the team and who are going to be your starters. And when you go into prep week, yeah, you still got, you know, 1 or 2 tough practices, but you're more gearing towards, you know, trying out game film and trying out the plays from Nebraska rather than just good on good. And you want to know who your leaders are. You want to know who your starters are so you can really start solidifying that role and that hierarchy so that the team can start firing on all cylinders. So I think as they get ready for Nebraska, I would hope that they've got that in mind, you know, who's going to be pushing this team forward. When things get tough, who are they going to turn to? Who's going to be those guys who in the fourth quarter and the game's not going how you want, they're going to keep the team going in the right direction.
So, you know, to me, one of the big differences is, you know, when you're talking about training camp, and this is one of the things that'll be interesting to see is, you know, you've watched this happen in the NFL. I think there's been some blown opportunities. We'll see in college football as it continues to progress. But you work a lot on situational football, and you're breaking things down. You're going to be able to do red zone, third down, end-of-half situations, and unique situations that you'll talk about a significant amount. And so that's something you do during training camp. You do a lot of fundamental, a lot of player development. It's mostly an internal look when you're training camp and you're working for yourself. Then all of a sudden you transition to the game week, and you're off of working on yourself so much. Now it's all, what is my opponent doing, and what are we going to do to stop that, or how are we going to attack these different areas? And so some of the fundamentals, you know, they go by the wayside. You still work on your 2-minute situations, your third downs, but you may not be working on those unique situations where, you know, you may need the ball back after giving up a safety, and how do you execute an onside kick right there? Or maybe there's a time where, okay, you have 45 seconds, 1 timeout, and we're working these specific situations about what do we want to do? Do we want to take a sack versus throw it away? Do we want to stay in bounds versus out of bounds, and working on all those different areas? Those are something that you're not going to have. They didn't really have as much time to do this year, so I'm curious to see those special situations because I've watched it happen in the NFL and with some colleges already. But now it's game week. You're focusing on Nebraska. You're trying to see, you're coming up, what are we going to take away? How are we going to attack them? They've lost a lot, and we'll have to see here what Scott Frost is trying to cook up because you don't really have any film, and they've had some guys opt out, and it's going to be a very, very unique situation.
Yeah, absolutely, Bob. And I think the other thing, too, is this Saturday they'll probably be in the stadium one more time, and it's that last time to really get out there and work on the substitutions. We've seen that a lot in college football this year and in the NFL where guys aren't on the field for a field goal or a punt return, et cetera, et cetera. So they're going to be working on that. They're going to be working on where we stand on the sidelines. Like, people don't really think about that, but you got to – I mean, they're 18 and 22-year-olds. I know Bob and I have to do it for 5th and 6th graders and 3rd and 4th graders, but guess what? In college football, you got to do the same thing because they got to know, hey, when you go on the bench, this is where you sit on game day, right? This is how a coach is going to come talk to you. The coaches are working on the booth, like calling down on the headsets. They're working on that just like the players are working on doing what they have to do on Saturdays. And then you look at Nebraska, just like we've already been talking about, they already kind of know the pieces. You have Adrian Martinez back as their quarterback. Like, they kind of know what they're going to do. Yeah, J.D. Spielman, he left for TCU. Who's going to really be their wide receiver? Well, guess what? You can only control what you can control, and that's going out there and playing our defense the way the Silver Bullets can. Obviously, I speak about defense because that's what we all played up here.
Here's the other thing. That,
I need to get more offensive guys out here.
You do, right?
You don't?
Here's the thing that Bob and Schlegel touched on is that training camp, you start off by kind of beating each other up, right? You're going against the Ohio State offense if you're the defense, and if you're the Ohio State offense, you're going against the Ohio State defense, right? As training camp starts to phase towards the end where it is right now, then you start phasing in who you're playing. So, you're going over situations like Bob talked about, but you also have to think, hey, Nebraska, what'd they do last year when they opened up the game? They came out in the triple option, right? So it's like you need some periods where you're going over triple option just so you know what you're doing. But then the other kicker is this year, not only are you going over different situations for the team that you're playing, you're also going over different situations on the health, right, of your own team, right? What happens if Justin Fields is out a week, right, or out 2 weeks and test positive, right? I mean, there are so many different situations this year compared to other years, and so that's what Coach Day and those guys are probably going over starting earlier than normal because you're not just getting ready for that other team. You've also got to get ready for yourself.
BB, how many times do you – sorry to interrupt you there. How many times do you – as you go through a camp, you know who your opponent is. Like, are you constantly thinking about Nebraska if you are going through this camp? Are you trying to block that out entirely for the first couple weeks? How much is that in your mind?
All right, it's a couple phases that I like to call phases in your thought process. Number one, for me, my first phase was always this. Ohio State's O-line is always going to be the best O-line I was going to face.
Right.
And that's my personal opinion, and you can feel how you want to feel about it. So I always knew that, especially going into that week one where it's like, all right, it's Gladiator week. We're going to see who's what, who's soft and who's not. I knew if I could figure out how to deal with my O-line and conquer my O-line on the toughness side and the mental side, I didn't care who we played.
Yeah.
I was going to be fine going into each game week to week, no matter what the scheme or the scouting report was. Now, that second week, yes, you're going to start having to worry about it and think about who you playing, what they run. But I'm going to tell you this. If I'm fresh out. So if I know this coaching staff like I think I do, they've already played Nebraska 10 times already.
Right.
I kid you not, whether they're in pads or they're in spiders. They've played Nebraska 10 times, whether they realize it or not. They're going to always find ways, certain periods, certain times within practice where they're going to sprinkle in Nebraska plays. Now, for us, sometimes you got moments where you just trying to make it through. You know what I mean? And, your brain kind of shut off and you go right into player mode. You know what I mean? So you don't realize what you're seeing, what you're getting. It's like, all right, put your hand in the dirt. This is what we got. Coach called the play. Go through your alignment, eyes, assignment, go to work. You know what I mean? So they've played this game. They just don't know it yet.
So all of you guys, BB just touched on that with going against the Ohio State offensive line, have touched on the difference for Ohio State and almost anywhere else in the country is that the iron sharpens iron on the practice field. So when you do that for 3 or 4 weeks and you're seeing the same face over and over, I know that somebody is going through your mind right now that gave you a battle that you're never going to forget. Mm-hmm. Who's the guy for each of you that gave you the toughest test in practice, the one that you hated, the mate you might have thrown some punches at, before becoming good buddies again once practice was over? BB, let's start down here.
Billy Price. Easy answer.
Who's that?
Billy Price.
Billy Price?
Billy Price. My whole freshman year was B block between Billy and Taylor, but Billy would not let me fall. You know, Coach say, if you get drove, make a pile. Billy get his forearm, I couldn't fall.
And he was a hustler too.
Bro, it would make me so mad. And I couldn't do nothing about it. And I was a young boy. I was a little light in the butt, so it is what it is there.
Fair enough. I would have to say mine was Andrew Sweaty, right? And a lot of people don't know that name because he dealt with some injuries late in his career. But, man, Sweaty was a guy that when I was playing fullback and he was playing linebacker, I swear the dude had no pain tolerance. Like, you know, we ran ISO a lot in Coach Tressel's offense, right? Yeah. And so there were a lot of times in training camp where we're running ISO after ISO, especially an inside drill when the linebackers know run is coming and they are just playing downhill. And I just remember, pounding heads with Sweaty every single day. And there were some times where I'm like, man, like I'd look up, but Sweaty's just ready to go again, man. It's like he didn't even know what pain was. So we never fought. The fights are a whole different story. Yeah. There's a couple others with fights which I won't bring up, but Sweaty, man, he was a tough battle.
I'm going to throw out 3 names. My freshman year was Mike Brewster, and he was just a veteran. And as a freshman, you know, my mentality was, okay, I'm just going to hit you harder than you hit me, and I'll win that battle. And he had so much good technique as a center that I would fire off to punch him in the chest, and he would just grab my arm, and then he would just put me in the ground. And that was so frustrating because he wasn't out muscling me or anything like that. He just knew how to use the right technique to beat me in my aggression. And that was really frustrating. But then the 2, as I got older, that was always a battle, was Andrew Norwell and Corey Linsley.
Dirtbag.
Dude.
Norwell.
Hey.
Tatanka.
That with the Great White Buffalo. That man was 6'7" and just mean. And I knew we were going to be successful when he was on our offensive line, but I hated going against him because if he locked you up, he would just scream in your face, and that's just frustrating, man. Like you already beat me, and now you just does. I'm not even gonna imitate it, but he would just scream in your face and shake his head. I'm like, all right, bro,
that
you got me.
Drink a lot of Coors Light.
Yes, he Yeah, so I'm happy I was on Ohio State and not going against him.
Well, do we have enough silver bullets out for him if he shows up? Or
No,
what?
I don't think so.
Dude,
we might have to bring a couple buckets.
I've seen that dude put 50 down in a night.
That's
unbelievable.
A lot. That's amazing.
Hey, he's a big man with a high tolerance.
That's amazing. So for me, it's a little bit delineated like Mike. When you talk about it, you have someone your freshman year who's obviously older, a little more mature, physically gifted, and they probably have better technique than you do. So that was Ben Hartsock. He played tight end. I'd go over every day. He was just country strong. He had great technique. Nicest guy in the world. He would destroy me, block me. I'm getting yelled at by Coach Schneider. You got to do a better job. You got to keep the edge. And then Ben would be like, hey, come on, man, just keep it up. Like he was like encouraging me as he's beating me into the ground. And so then I'm like, all right, I got to lift more weights. I got to get stronger so I can match him. Because I couldn't really get mad at him, but it would just every day he would just dominate me. And it was really my freshman year. Like you think you're big, you think you're strong, and then you see like a real grown man. Like, all right, I'm not fully as grown as I thought I was. And then my senior year, and it's amazing to think this, but this dude, like, he's a lot like Norwell. Like, you want your offensive lineman to be mean. You want him to be nasty. It's a dude you hate playing against, but you're glad they're on your team.
Yes.
And, like, those are the guys you're like, oh, you just, like, shake your head at practice. And then you watch him in the game, like, glad that's not me. Because I'd be getting 15-yarders fighting this guy after the play. And so that guy was Kirk Barton. And I know he was around when some of you guys played, and he looked like the Incredible Hulk. He wasn't quite that big when he came in as a freshman. This is no joke. We're in a Thursday practice. We have just shells, just uppers, so we've got shoulder pads and shorts on. And they're running a quick screen or some sort of tunnel screen. I'm rushing off the edge. I think I'm playing defensive end. And Kirk literally cuts me. And we have a game, and it's in practice. And this is like week 7 or 8. He hits me right in the knee with his helmet. Freshman? I have shorts on. I drop my knee right in the back of his neck. And I'm like, flip him over. I'm like, what the heck are you doing? He's like, man, it's a cut on the thing. I'm like, we got shorts on, bro. Like, what are you doing? He's like, I'm just doing what I'm told. Like, and that was his response to it. It was amazing. And that's how he was. He was trying to finish dudes off, destroy you into the ground, a lot like Norwell. I'm like, okay, I'm glad this guy's on our team. Maybe it was my junior year. My senior year, he was actually starting and playing. I'm like, I'm glad this guy's out here because I know what he's about and I know how tough he is.
Yeah, that's – I was going to say Kirk Barton as well.
He's a scumbag.
He's an absolute douche. What is wrong with him? Well, I mean, I was a meathead, and I kind of came in later. So when I came in, from the Air Force Academy. It was Alex Stepanovich and Shane Olivier. And for me, I ran scout team my first year, which was fantastic because all I wanted to do was make Coach Bowman so mad. And he would just, Schlegel, he would just, that's how he talked. And I just wanted to absolutely obliterate them. So I went all gas, no brakes, and I would just ram my skull right into theirs, and they would get so mad, and I would just cut through and make tackles. But then when we were playing in 04 and 05, it was 100% Kirk Barton. And because he would fire off, because he would obviously know the plays, and we would fire off, and I wanted to hurt him, even in practice, just because I knew how hard he was going. Like, you had to be on your A game every single week going against them. But that's what you want because that's what makes you better. That is iron sharpening iron. When everybody's going really hard, guess what? Everybody's going to get better.
So this is the truth. Like, those dudes would come off the field when Schlegel was playing scout team my sophomore year. Like, Mangold was playing center. Stepanovich would be like, listen, man, you need to tell your boy Schlegel to turn it down. Like, this is real. Like, because there was a different tempo on the offensive side, and Schlegel, like, he was the only one that didn't know that they didn't go as hard. They're like, you'd hear Bowman yelling, but these guys are like, I'm done hitting your boy. I'm done. Like, I'm going to cut him in practice if I have to. Like, I don't care if we're teammates, whatever it is. Like, I'm sick of this guy. Because that was him. I'm like, listen, man, he's making you better. I like that. And they did not. They did not appreciate it one bit.
One person that I did hate that I do appreciate now that made me a technician is your damn brother.
Jacoby?
Yeah, Jacoby. Hey, he was gritty.
Yeah, he's grinding.
Dirtbag.
And he was never the strongest, but technique and fundamentals was always on point. And he was probably one of the best trash talkers I ever met. Between him and Jalen Holmes, they actually helped me perfect my trash talking game.
He's a good trash talker.
Jacoby on a daily basis would find a way to piss me off. And like I said, he was never the biggest, never the strongest. But you always knew technique, hand placement, and fundamentals was going to be on point. And he also helped me piss off Coach Warren on a daily basis. That was always great. I'd never be mad about that.
I should have just made that the Bryant whatever it takes player of the week. Maybe I will. I don't know. But we can come back to that later. We're going to give these guys a quick break as we roll along here from Weekend Kickoff, brought to you by Bryant Heating and Cooling Systems. We'll be right back in after we drink a couple Coors Lights.
It takes attention to detail. With your local Bryant dealer, you're getting more than just a technician. You're getting someone who pays attention to your needs and the little things that make a big difference. It takes a dealer you can rely on. And to keep your family warm this winter,
here, let me show you how this works.
It takes Bryant.
Bryant. Whatever it takes.
All right, everybody, welcome back to Weekend Kickoff, brought to you by Bryant Heating and Cooling System. We're at Urban Meyer's Pint House, and we just happened to find that guy sitting in the back room eating some dinner. So Coach has joined us for a couple minutes. And Zach, he wanted you desperately when we named at Lettermen Row the 2012 team, the team of the decade. He said, we got to have Zach Boren. I said, dude's in Florida. He's always in Florida.
I was in Florida.
Because there were some stories.
I'm like Coach Meyer, going off to Florida.
There are some great stories with Zach Boren.
I don't know how many we can tell.
And they get better and better
as years go by. Yeah, they do.
So what you guys became really close over that year. I remember covering it like it was yesterday, but I don't think it started that way. Urban, the 5 a.m. workouts and out there in the cold. I feel like there was one guy who was trying to push you back the way you were pushing him.
Well, we first were hired in December of 2011. And if you just push restart, what happened was Ohio State lost 7 games, first time since 1800s. You had a bunch of issues. What I found out, they're really good people. They really didn't do many things wrong. When you talk about who's a great receiver, Posey, right?
Yep.
What a great guy he was. Who's a running back that you
Boom Heron.
Boom,
Yep.
right?
Yeah.
I met all these guys after the fact. I was like, my gosh, these guys are great people. But, I don't necessarily agree with everything that went down. You had a great football coach who's a dear friend, Jim Tressel, that in my mind it was over the top what happened. And I was told when I took the job there would be no scholarship loss or would be no bowl ban. And I find out 2 weeks after I take the job that there is a 9 scholarship loss and a bowl ban. And I take over a team that had really good players, but there was a lot of stuff that went on the year before.
Zach, were you worried that you were playing fullback then. Yeah. A lot of people now remember you just at the end with the linebacker switch. Were you worried that Urban was just going to phase you out, or you weren't going to be part of the offense? Well, when he got hired, what did you think of that?
I know, I remember Johnny Simon and I had a quick conversation with Coach Meyer and Coach Mick, and we discussed maybe for a couple minutes, possibly declaring early, how do we fit in? You obviously want young guys to play, we're bowl band, you want to build the program. And literally it was a 5-minute conversation, and it ended with, hey, we're in this together, let's do it. Let's have some fun, right? It's kind of, I don't want to say nothing to lose, but, when you can't play for a Big Ten championship, when you can't play for a national championship, it's kind of like, hey, let's go out and give them hell, right? And let's make a fun ride out of it. And that's what we did. And, Coach Meyer is always going to – he's one of the greatest coaches in college football, right? And I'm not saying this because he's sitting here, and it's because – he coaches with the talent that he has, right, and puts people in different positions. He's not one of those coaches that says, this is my scheme, you need to go to my scheme, right? Yep. He's a guy that is able to put players in different positions and change his mindset a little bit. That's best for the program and best for the offense, best for the defense. And so knowing that, I was like, hey, I'm going to fit in somehow, some way, right? I know, I was a 3-year starter, and whatever he had me do, if that – meant playing center, if that meant whatever. I still, to this day, no one knows about this, and he will say it. He had me at the Wildcat quarterback for a while, and it was a great package, and he never called it in a game. But
we never called it?
Never called it. I was hoping we called it the Team Up North game. But
what a missed opportunity.
Do it. I know. I had the Tebow jump pass and everything.
Wow. That doesn't sound like a true story at all.
Oh.
I mean, you've told me every story in the book from 2012. I don't remember that one.
Well, Zach was a leader, and he had great feet. He was a guy that always played with great balance and accelerated. So I really, in my mind, thought we could give him some tailback carries, because life as a fullback is awful. No one wants to grow up and say, there's no young person that says, hey, I can't wait to be a fullback someday.
Right.
Especially nowadays with the spread offenses. But he was a very good blocker, but I wanted, he was that good a player. I wanted to get the ball in his hand. And then a guy named Carlos Hyde started really coming on. We had Jordan Hall, and he got hurt. Remember, he got hurt like 2 weeks before or a month before the season started. And Carlos Hyde, he was an overweight guy that was real lazy. And then all of a sudden, Carlos Hyde came on strong. But Zach was a guy that we had to get on the field, and I kept thinking about it. And then about week 5 or 6, something happened. We had Sabino, Storm Klein, Storm Klein, and Josh Perry all get hurt, and Cam Williams. They all get hurt for the Indiana game. And I walk out to practice, and I wasn't completely aware because I was coaching the offense. I walk out, and the trainers, and I look over on the bikes, and I see these 4 linebackers, and you're out. And plus our defense was playing not very good at the time, and I said, we need some tough guys, man. And I told Luke, I said, I got the answer. He looked at me like, what are you talking about? I said, I'll be right back. And I walk over, and Zach Boren is stretching in the lines, and I kind of put because by now Zach and I are really close, and I said, Zach, I need you, man. When's the last time you played linebacker? And he said, well, in high school. And I said, I got news, pal. We need you at linebacker. And I'll never forget, he had like water in his eyes, and he said, I will do anything to help this team win a game. You tell me what to do, and I'll do it. And that's the ultimate why I have him as one of my great leaders of all time.
And you could do that because you had developed that trust that you mentioned. But, in January and February, when he's yelling at you that you're not going to break him, did that make you want to break him more? Did that say, hey, you're a fullback. I don't need you, buddy. Like, how does, as a coach, do you like him challenging you that way? Do you not like it?
Well, I think I know this group right here is paying attention, so it was really cool. So we come in and we said, okay, we're going to give him 2 weeks off after the bowl loss. It was a bad bowl loss, and my first team meeting, there's 5 or 6 guys that don't show up. And I said, we're going to try this again. I'll see you guys tomorrow, and make sure you get the word out. If this one doesn't go well, it's going to be a bad day for everybody. So I'll see you tomorrow at 6 a.m. And I come walking in the meeting room about 5 till 6, and I notice there's some empty seats. And then as I'm talking, some offensive linemen come stumbling in, Norwell and Muhort and those guys. And I said, okay, boys, I'll see you tomorrow morning. Off-season starts tomorrow at 6 a.m. on the practice field. It was 10 degrees out, and they weren't allowed to wear Buckeye stuff. Their locker room was closed, shut down. And we went out, and Zach was screaming at us, at me and Coach Mick. He's screaming, "You can't break us!" And as he's doing bear crawls with his hands numb in the ice, and I said, "Can't break you." I go, "Zach, I could break you in about 10 seconds here." But I like the fact that he's a fighter, and I knew right then that, and I heard about him because, you know, his reputation, he's as a leader.
Yeah. There are so many cool stories about that.
Oh, yeah.
Zach's told a bunch of them. Urban, we're going to let you get back to your dinner and running this place in just a second. The Buyer's Auto question for Coach actually came from ZBORN44 on Twitter. He wants to set up. Well, that's you.
It did. Yeah, that's
You
me.
have a question for Coach.
Yeah,
Okay.
I do. We're still looking for a golf game. So Jeff Hireman's one of my best friends. Coach Meyer was really close with Jeff, was really close to myself, right? And we've had a running joke ever since, like, Jeff's maybe senior year. It started getting talked about. There's been, like, a highly anticipated golf match between Coach Meyer and any partner he wants and Hireman and myself, right? And he keeps on putting it off. It's like he's scared. I mean, Coach Meyer has Meyer has always been the competitor on the football field. It's like you get on the golf course, like, what's going on, Coach?
He's looking for the hard cam, not scared.
Not scared. So we will. Hireman's soft though. Hireman, you know, he's married now. He's soft. He's is he a dad yet?
He's a dad.
He's a dad, and he's got more important things to get his butt kicked on a golf course. But I promise you, I got you when he gets in town.
I don't think
we got to get Jeff here.
Yeah, once he gets out of Denver, Zach said he'd bring him. We'll set up the match. We're going to bring out the cameras.
Is he still playing, or are you retired?
No, he's retired. He's moving to Columbus soon.
Wow.
He's going to neighbors with you.
He's going to be out here. We're going to finally get some more offensive guys up on this stage, but I don't know, Zach. He's going to call up Jason Day. He's going to get Dustin Johnson.
I said non-professional.
Oh, non-professional.
I'll find a partner.
Yeah.
I volunteered. And
there's not many guarantees in life, and I'll go on record. Zach Boren and Hireman will not beat us. Never. That won't happen.
I love it.
I can't wait. This can be all over social media after this match happens.
We got to get that one set up. Urban Meyer, thanks so much for hanging out with us real briefly on Weekend Kickoff, brought to you by Bryant Heating and Cooling Systems. We'll be right back with the full crew. All right, guys, welcome back to the final segment. Weekend Kickoff brought to you by Bryant Heating and Cooling Systems. We're about to get into the Silver Bullet Pick segment, and Zach's going to want a lot of credit, and we'll do that in a second. But first, we're going to bring you this week's new trivia contest. For those of you that start coming out, we're going to do this every week. A lot of more cool prizes coming. Tonight, we've got a T-shirt for everybody in here, so make sure you come out and compete for that tonight. BB.
Compete to the death. Like, that'd be amazing. We're just going to clear out some tables. They're going to have like a cage match. Bloodsport right here for a T-shirt.
It's just huge legs.
That would be amazing. I'll get to ref it.
Oh, my God.
Well, our friend Lewis has promised that he's going to give us some even bigger and better gifts from Corso as we go along. He's walking around here. He knows he's got some cool stuff going on as the season gets going. So, BB, I asked you, and I don't think you even remember the answer to this question, but you are going to be focused.
Uh-huh.
And since I had to jog your memory, I'm not even afraid that you're going to give it away. But who did BB Landers have his first career sack against during his Ohio State career?
I just forgot that fast.
He already forgot. So if you know, hit that up. He only had 3 during his career.
Oh, that's awful.
Hey, my tackle for loss rate is just high. Don't get beat up.
Okay, fair enough.
He wasn't supposed to be the sack guy.
I think I know the answer.
Now he's got it?
Yeah, I think I know the answer.
You did? You think you know it?
I think I know it.
All right. Well, and the reason I told Mike Bennett is that we have a nice little running joke on every Lettermen Row show about this program. So hopefully if you watch Lettermen Row, you know who this team is.
I know who it is.
And it's a great way to get your first career sack.
I know who it is.
He also had one in the game. So these gold pants were won with a sack. So.
I don't know if I had any sacks against this team.
Oh, that's not good.
I don't think I did.
All right.
You probably only played a quarter.
Was it Denard? Quarter.
You probably only played a quarter.
Up by 50.
I think I might have got mine in the first quarter.
All right. Those are all the hints we can give. If you want to come win an Urban Meyer's T-shirt, just know that this is not the finest program in the Big Ten. I'll just leave it at that.
Sorry,
all right,
guys.
Silver Bullets. I was going to ask you if you remembered the feeling, how great it was, but
Nope.
All right.
Nope. Too far along.
Well, that makes for a good segment.
Football make you age in doggy years. I'm at least 60 right now. I'm not going to lie to you.
All right, well, we could have toasted a silver bullet to that, but at least you got one in the game that mattered most.
Hey, that's all that matters.
Okay, Zach. This is your moment.
It's my moment.
We
bragging rights.
Gave you a little bit of a hard time a week before we started keeping score, but he's got 4 wins on the leaderboard last week. Now that we're keeping track, he's in first place. BB is 0-0. He's going to have
Good
some
lie. I'm
rounds.
1 for 1. That's 100%.
We'll
That's
go
the A.
for win percentage.
First place.
I'm 1 for 1.
Schlegel.
That's 100.
First place.
I didn't even know we were keeping score.
You should.
Oh,
We always keep score.
Accountability.
Yeah, that's cool. I'll make a comeback this week.
Bobby and Mike, 3 correct picks last week. Congrats
It's
on
impressive.
that.
I expect
Congratulations.
claps.
Yep.
And me and Schlegs,
2.
not the finest performance, and I really, really, really regret picking Miami to beat Clemson.
It's embarrassing.
Miami's back.
And I didn't even have to pick them to beat Clemson. I could have just picked them to cover, but I still would have lost. So anyway, we have 5 more this week. Zach wants us to up it to 10. He wants this competition to get going.
There's only 10 games this week.
Yeah, I don't know if we'd have enough
Well, not
Super
this
Bullets to
week.
get
I'm
through.
saying next week.
Okay.
Big Ten starts.
All right.
I don't know, 10 other teams in Ohio State.
We normally have an NFL game to pick. That's the instant accountability game, but that didn't happen.
No.
As that schedule gets shuffled around. But we do have one NFL game to pick anyway. We put the Browns at the Steelers, boys. Steelers are a 3.5-point favorite. Browns are 4-1. They've got the whole world talking about is this the year they can break through, get to the playoffs, make something magical happen. BB, Browns, Steelers, what do you got?
I don't know about all the extra that's going into it, but for me personally, I'm going to have to go with Cleveland. Believe it or not.
Browns.
Cleveland
Browns.
plus 3.5.
Listen, I'm going to tell you this. I ain't an NFL fan, so I can't be biased at all. I'm going Cleveland only because defensively for me, they, for the most part, put on some clinics, you know what I mean? And then offensively, their wide receiver core, you really can't argue that, you know? So Baker Mayfield, people can argue whether he's this and that. He's doing good with the weapons that he's got. So I'm going to have to go with Cleveland.
Zach?
Listen, I'm a Cleveland fan. Love my dog pound, but there's some issues, right? Odell Beckham went home sick, right?
Not a good sign right now.
Not a good sign. The defense is starting to come back. They're starting to get healthier, but still, I don't think they have played an offense like the Steelers so far this year, right? Someone that can ground and pound them and then air it out with Big Ben. Plus 3.5, I want to trust Baker Mayfield to manage the game and pull out a victory. And my man Denzel Ward makes some big plays on the back end. So that's what I'm going to do.
Oh, boy.
Cleveland plus 3.5. I can't go against the dog pound. That's what it is, boys. I was building it up.
He was slowly talking himself into it.
Just to pick Cleveland.
Oh, okay.
You know, I was going to go against whatever Zach said, but he's got a good point. So originally, I think Cleveland is very strong. I think having Odell come down sick and nobody really knows if he's going to be ready for the game, that's a worrisome thing because Odell's obviously one of their best weapons on offense. Their defense been playing pretty well. And if they don't have Odell, who knows? The Steelers have a stout defense. And that's going to be hard to pick apart. But Odell could have a 12-hour stomach flu. Who knows? Yep.
Don't forget about
He likes that number 2.
Hey, you chill out.
Oh, my God.
Oh, buddy.
I ain't judging.
I'm going to go with the Steelers.
Minus 3.5.
Only for the fact that their defense is strong. I really don't even know much about their offense, but they still have Big Ben, so I think that they're going to be Browns haven't beat the Steelers in 17 years.
2003 last time at
that sounds more like a curse than a habit. So I think it's a toss-up though. This is probably the best chance the Browns have had. This is truly the best teams the Browns have had in a long time, and they do have a good chance. But if I'm going to put my money down, I'm going Steelers.
Got to win in Pittsburgh. It's been a number of years, obviously. Browns can run the football though. The receiving core is really good. I understand that Pittsburgh defense is great. They haven't played quite as well this season as they have last year. They're still really good. Our man Cam Hayward, he's getting interceptions. So what are we talking about? 3.5, if you're going to give me that, and that means I'm essentially taking Cody Parkey out of the equation because who knows what he's going to give you.
Right.
You got to give me the points. I'm going to take those points. I'm going to roll with Cleveland. Cody Parkey may have a chance to win the game, and he could miss it, and I still win. I'm all in. So give me the 3.5. I'm going with the Browns.
Yeah, I'm 100% with Bob on this, and here's the reason. It's all going to come up to who can rush the football. Cleveland Browns have 12 takeaways this year, which is number 1 in the league. They have the 4th-ranked rush defense. I don't really think that James Conner is going to be able to do that on them. Their secondary is playing better. Again, they also played Old Man Rivers, so he's always throwing picks.
Yeah, but Ben throws picks, and he doesn't move all that well either.
And that's what I'm saying. So I think in this game, the Browns are going to be able to have some takeaways. the way they're able to run the football. And again, I'm not necessarily picking them to win. I think it's going to be a very, very close game because it's hard to win in Pittsburgh. And Pittsburgh knows how to win close games in the fourth quarter. But if you're going to give me 3.5 points, I'm going to take the Browns.
Hey, I love it. Me against the world. Just like last week, what happened?
Worked out well for you in
Worked
that
out
particular
well.
Well, you won
But the
3
Steelers,
games.
I've seen this show.
What'd you win?
I've seen this show with Cleveland enough times. I'm not going to fall for it to have them pull the Charlie Brown flip away and lose the game, and especially after Bobby's talking about the field goals. Steelers, I'm going to lay those points all day. So put that on the record. Back to college football. We only have one more week, boys, and next week we'll get to break down all the Big Ten games and make those picks, and it's going to be a lot more fun. But until then, we have games like Louisville at Notre Dame.
That's a good one.
Everybody wants
That
to
sounds awful.
The Irish are 14-point favorites. Is there any chance that this is the week that Notre Dame reverts from being contender to pretender?
I don't know about reverting all the way back. I'm sorry. Go ahead,
Bobby, you like to go first. You got it.
Go ahead,
Well,
Bob.
Attack and dominate, Bob.
Yeah, I don't know about reverting all the way back. The question is, 14 points. It's 2 scores.
Right.
The Notre Dame has looked average at times this year. However, Louisville has looked bad.
Atrocious.
They have not looked good. Last season, you thought they were on the right direction. This season, I don't know what they did and how they handled their protocols. And this is really an indictment on a lot of programs on their culture and how they were able to handle this whole thing and what their guys did when they weren't required to do anything. Did they actually just sit around and eat Doritos and watch TV, or did they actually train and take care of their bodies? I don't think that happened in Louisville. So 14 points is a lot. I'm going to lay those points. I like the Irish to cover this.
Yeah, I'm completely with you. It's at Notre Dame. Louisville has looked awful. In book, good quarterback. We really don't know what they're going to look like as far as in the ACC. Where are they in the Atlantic?
Notre Dame's number 4.
Sure.
Yeah, I don't even know. The top part of the ACC, which is all Garbaggio anyway. So
More
we're
of a top or bottom?
Yeah, top.
Okay.
Yeah, bottom's nice sometimes too. Sunny down there, Miami. But that being said, I'm taking Notre Dame. I'm gonna lay the points.
I don't know what is happening there. But
Yeah.
Bobby,
Morning juice.
Bobby's trying his best to get us kicked off, like FCC violations.
I thought it's a podcast.
It is, but you guys just have that radio mindset. You get off of the radio, you're going to come out and push it in front of the live crowd and see what you can get away with.
Go
And
Bucks.
Frankly, I love it.
That's what you say. Go Buckeyes.
Those are 2 nut jobs at the end. So are you really surprised? Let's be honest.
Which one of you 3 want to get in here?
So, back to the game, right? Away from Bob and Schlegel. Here's the thing. This is what I'm going to say. Notre Dame is not good. They are fake good. They are Florida. They are Miami. They are fake good. They are not a good football team.
Yeah.
In saying that, Louisville is even worse, right? Louisville is so bad.
Fake good versus real bad?
Oh, yeah, fake good versus really bad, right? I mean, Notre Dame is equivalent to, like, Michigan, right? Fake good.
Yeah.
This is like them playing Northwestern,
Got it.
right? So Notre Dame is going to cover. They're going to win this week, and then as time goes on, you will see they will get throttled by Clemson, and they will probably lose another game to like Pitt or someone else, right? But Notre Dame is going to cover 14 against Louisville.
I couldn't care less about Louisville and Notre Dame. Notre Dame is ranked 4. Louisville is unranked. So Notre Dame is going to cover the spread. I mean,
Michael's just here for the Coors Light.
I'm here for the Coors Light. Colts, the Rockies. Notre Dame is a perennial good team. I know they've got better talent than Louisville. They're probably got better coaching. I don't see how that they can't blow Louisville out of the water.
Not gonna lie to you, I haven't watched either team because, in my personal opinion,
We are prepared.
either one of them
Love that press there.
He's being honest.
grab my attention.
He's not going to fake the
I'm not
analysis.
going to give an either or because I cannot answer that question. I have no clue.
BB sits it out. I respect that. You're not going to lose any money
Sorry.
doing that. You're also not going to catch Zach, but that's all right.
okay. I'll catch him on the back end. Not about how you start, it's how you finish.
That's all. That's absolutely.
Finish him.
Oh boy.
What you got?
BB's one of the best finishers in the game.
You
Austin,
right.
what you got?
Because of the fake good, I just refuse to buy into Notre Dame, and they're always due for some kind of stinker in my mind. And Bobby loves when my analysis is that a team is due.
Yeah, that's bad.
But
Someone being due doesn't necessarily work.
it paid off for me with Oklahoma and Texas last week. So why not? If I'm getting 2 touchdowns with some bad ACC football, then I might as well roll with the Cardinals, and that's what I'm going to do because I need to make up some ground on Zach too.
I respect it.
Bobby, just look at him. He's just stewing over there with my with my gambling expertise.
Bobby just need a hug.
You took OU, I took Texas. That's all.
It
Hey,
worked. All right.
you're right.
We had Cincinnati at Tulsa. That game is no longer being played this week, rescheduled until December, so we had to put that on the back burner. So we took another former Ohio State defensive coordinator, and Jeff Hafley. He's been doing a fantastic job with Boston College. He's getting 12 points on the road against Virginia Tech. I'm just going to I'm taking Jeff Hafley in Boston College here. He is so sharp. He puts together such good defensive game plans. Virginia Tech has been ravaged, really, by COVID with their roster. You got to give them a lot of credit for the way they've managed it. But I think eventually that catches up with you. And I like Jeff Hafley here. I think Boston College will cover that 12. Schlegs?
Well, Virginia Tech, they play Enter Sandman. And you got Boston College. And they're the Eagles. So I'm going to pick the Eagles to soar above the sand and cover that.
I don't really know if I like that.
You like that analogy? I know. Hey, here's the thing.
I thought we were going to get something really fancy.
Nah. I'm keeping it simple. When I'm with all these guys, I might as well, keep it simple, stupid. And they almost beat North Carolina, who is supposedly a good team. And here's the other thing. Jeff Hafley knows how to play defense. And Virginia Tech's going to want to run the football.
That is very fact.
So I'm going to take BC in this one.
What was the number on that, Austin?
12.
12?
Yes.
Okay, so you're going to say it's less than 2 touchdowns? That's the one thing that's intriguing to me. Because Vol-Tech played North Carolina back really, really good. I had to look that up because I'm like, I thought they were just in a game with a good team that they scored a lot of points. I love Hafley. I don't think they're quite there yet with what they're going to do. They're going to try to shorten the game, slow it down. I'm still going to lay those points. I'm going to take the Hokies.
Virginia Tech, no explanation.
Hold on. How are you guys saying North Carolina is good? Just because,
Nobody's good this year.
Just
Nobody's
because
good.
they're ranked high, because some teams haven't been playing, doesn't mean they're good.
I never said they were good.
What has North Carolina done? You guys are saying they're a good football team.
They got
Listen,
Petey
I haven't seen a
Pablo.
good football team yet this year.
Yeah, Petey Pablo, man.
Listen, UNC and Virginia Tech last week having a shootout is like watching Minnesota and Nebraska have a shootout. Both teams not very good, but guess what? They can have a shootout and they can duke it out, and Minnesota can be ranked high, but they're not a good football team. So it goes back to Jeff Hafley being able to play football. They have played a legitimate team in Clemson this year. BC held their own for a little bit, did not look like they were fish out of the water. BC's going to go in there. They had an upset last week. They're going to go in again this week and beat Virginia Tech, and I actually think they cover 12.
All right. Oh, whoa.
Like, they would cover
reverse
12.
line.
They reverse it, and they would recover 12.
I think we need
let's role
Does
play
that count
this.
towards his tally?
That should count like
They
2.
don't cover 12.
I think
it shouldn't count.
what we're going to do is we're going to drive across the border into Indiana after this and check out what that line
The
is.
money line, baby.
That's the
I'm
reverse.
going with
That's a
Boren.
big one.
I'm going with Boren on this. Right here, I'm going to be a little bit biased. Having some point in time, me playing for Coach Haff, I know exactly what kind of coach he is. Now, looking at BC, they're not going to always be the most talented week to week. We can call it for what it is.
Yep.
They're not going to be the most talented. But the fact that they're not the most talented and they're putting top teams in dogfights week to week and coming out with wins week to week, I'm going with BC. Coach Haff is going to put those boys in the best possible position to be successful. They are bought in enough to where they're going into, in my personal opinion, maybe average to maybe even a little bit below average VTech team.
Yep.
My Virginia team, in my personal opinion, give it to BC.
I love it. Great
And
picks.
I'm going with Boren. I'm going with 12.
Ride with Zach Boren. Why not?
There you go.
Right.
Ride it.
You're right.
All right, two more before we get to or one more before the biggest game of the week, the most interesting one. This one, what a contrast. Zach, Texas A&M got they were maybe a week too late to get that signature win, but they got one anyway against Florida.
I called that one last week. I pulled Texas A&M twice, 2 weeks in a row. They lost one. They covered one. Now listen, they looked good last week. They looked like a legitimate football team against the University of Florida. They're going against a Mike Leach coach football team that played really well against LSU, but we see what LSU really is, right? I think Texas A&M just too much of a complete team. You see Mississippi State, and yes, they can throw the ball all over, but man, the defense is bad. It's typical Mike Leach coach football team. Spiller in the running game and Kellen Mond for Texas A&M are way too dangerous for this Mississippi State team. It's 5.5 points. Texas A&M covers that. I mean, maybe if you look double digits, maybe you think Mississippi State can put up some numbers, but 5.5, man, Texas A&M covers all day.
Yeah, I'm glad that you dropped that number in there because I left it out when I threw it to you. 5.5 there against the Pirate, the biggest fraud coaching in the SEC.
Oh my goodness, that's real.
I mean, tell me,
I love you.
Tell me why you would want to ever back Mike Leach with any of your hard-earned or soft-earned dollars. It couldn't be me. I won't. Texas A&M is going to cover. I bet they win by 30.
Oh, put that on there.
Hey, I agree with Zach. I think Texas A&M is just outright the strongest team in this matchup. I mean, they've gone against two top teams, and they've been able to show put on a good show for everybody and win one of the matchups. And who was, I don't know how to say this a better way, who is Mississippi State? What are they going to do to Texas A&M?
They're the Bulldogs.
Oh, okay, thank you. I appreciate that. That enlightens me.
I like pit bulls.
Start Vegas.
I don't think this is like one of those LSU versus Miami. I don't think this is really as much of a discussion as some of these others, especially this next one we're going to talk about.
Yeah.
I think Texas A&M easily covers.
Bob, what do you got?
The term easily, I think Texas A&M is the better team.
Easily.
They haven't done a real good job of handling any type of success. Like, they haven't been great, but what worries me is the fact that they get a signature win against Florida. How do you respond? Do you start feeling really good about yourself? Do you start feeling yourself a little bit? Because I'm pretty sure that's what happened to Mississippi State against Arkansas last week after they beat LSU. I trust Mike Leach inherently. He's an attorney. Who doesn't trust attorneys, Austin?
Everybody.
Well, and that's probably true as well. But if you're going to give me 5.5, I think this game is a shootout, and I think the Bulldogs cover the 5.5. I'm taking those points.
Yeah, it's on the road. It's at Mississippi State. I don't know what they're doing in Mississippi, but if Mike Leach could have, 60,000 Pirates in the stands, he would. All masked, by the way, but yet Pirates right there in the ears of the Texas A&M Aggies. I do not trust the Aggie defense whatsoever. I do like their offense, and I'm with Bob. I think it's a shootout, and I think Mississippi State covers that.
Oh.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Baby's stewing on it over here.
I am.
All Mike Leach does with his week is read about Pirates. He doesn't even game plan.
He does game plan.
Reads about Pirates.
I might have to go A&M on this one.
A&M, I like it.
All right.
Keep it simple.
Keep it simple.
I'm just going to be proud.
I think Will's just going to keep putting Mississippi State on there because he knows how little I think about Mike Leach. All right, the big one. The line changed dramatically this week when Nick Saban had a positive test. Didn't it go to – I saw from 7 to 3.5, Bob. We've got maybe it depends on your –
if you got it in early.
Your specific book or where you have it, but we're going to pick it at 3.5.
Okay.
Georgia at Alabama. We don't know. Zach has a bonus prediction. I know he already tipped me off to what it is. This is the biggest game of the week. It's one of the biggest games of the year. Maybe they'll play twice this year. Who knows in the SEC? But the winner of this game you have to assume is in the college football playoff. That's me. So Georgia, Alabama. Bob, do you want to go first or last?
I'll go first if you'd like.
All right.
Hey, if you ain't first, you're last.
Exactly.
You know
and so here's the question: Is Nick Saban going to be in the stadium? I don't think that's been officially confirmed. I've seen these little pop-up little plastic tent covers they can put you in. You put a headset on them. You can throw them on the sideline. Maybe throw them in a box. I'm sure there's plenty of room that they can find to get them in there. You're not allowed to have communication per, I guess, I don't know if it's SEC or NCAA rules. NCAA if you're not in the stadium. But if you're in there, Austin, then you're going to be able to communicate.
Remember Hugh Freeze? Like, they brought the
hospital. Yeah, he was in the hospital bed. And he said, like, the thumbs up.
So, and there's no way with Alabama, spare no expense, one of the few programs that would pay anything and everything to get their head coach in there. You can't tell me that they haven't thought about sealing off whatever it is.
Hazmat suit.
It'll look like E.T. in there, man. They're going to have a whole little white tent in there in some place. Because if you're going to tell me Steve Sarkisian, who does have head coaching experience, I mean, Washington, USC, I don't know if I trust him coaching a whole game against Kirby Smart. I think Kirby Smart's a better coach. I think Alabama's a little more talented. Georgia's looked rough to start games, and then they've obviously poured it on in the second half. I don't know if you can look rough against Alabama for a half and then pour it on. 3.5, I like that line's come down. I'll lay those points. I think Alabama gets it done.
Yeah, with it now going from 7 to 3.5, I really like Najee Harris. And the rule is 1-4-1-11 in the NCAA deal. Poof, David Copperfield. Why do they have that many rules? Because they just like having a job, and that's what people do. They just make up stuff so they feel important. But that being said, it's Stetson, and I kind of want to go with Georgia because their quarterback was named after a hat.
Yeah.
And I absolutely love that. Then you got Mac Jones. But I like
Return of the Mac.
All right, but here's the other thing. Georgia, I'm talking myself into what I'm going to say, so I don't really know.
He's building up to it.
Georgia has beaten number 7 Auburn at the time. They've beaten number 14 Tennessee at the time, all by 20+. Alabama beat a Texas A&M team by 20-something, and then they almost got beat by, until late in the fourth quarter, by a, COVID plus 30 Lane Kiffin. I'm going to go with the Dogs.
Oh, there he goes.
I'm gonna take this next part. I'm gonna go with Georgia. I do not make a career out of betting against Alabama. I think it's rarely a safe bet.
Yeah.
You might get surprised every now and then, and I definitely don't make a career out of betting for Georgia because they have a way of losing big games.
Yep.
I think when you take the captain out of the team, which is Nick Saban, even they're gonna find their way. Okay, he's behind a bubble or he's doing a Zoom call. It's not the same. His presence isn't there. His quick reaction for play calling isn't there. The way he reprimands people isn't there. Steve Sarkisian, he might be good at what he does, but this is a big game. This isn't, Alabama versus Vanderbilt, Mississippi State. This is
Rutgers.
Georgia's coming for him, and they sense weakness. I think Georgia's going to find a way.
It's a Cobra Kai.
The Cobra Kai. I think they're going to find a way. I hope they do, because if they don't, then forever Georgia should be embarrassed. You can't beat Alabama when they don't have Nick Saban. When you're ranked number 3 and they're ranked number 2,
yeah.
Then get out of the SEC. Go play.
It's at Alabama.
Go ahead, baby.
I might have to go Georgia.
Yeah.
Not gonna lie to you.
Simple as that from BB.
He likes to keep it simple.
Go ahead.
I'm
He's a
very
straight-ahead
simple.
guy.
That's the best way to be. I'm gonna go Georgia. Only for the simple. I'm gonna go for Georgia for the fact of this.
All right, Zach.
Yes, you
Go
can
ahead.
coach like Nick Saban. Oh, never mind.
Go finish it. Finish
No,
it.
you're
Oh,
good.
go ahead. You got it.
Finish your thought, baby.
I could chime up for the.
I think Will keeps on putting Georgia on these pick'ems because he just wants to hear my same story every single week that I give about the Dogs because I love the Dogs. He knows that, right? Georgia's defense is so good. They have come out, and what they did against Bo Nix and Auburn and what they were able to do against that Tennessee offense last year, Tennessee had a couple big plays, but, man, I think they really sit on Weddle. I think they load the box. Najee Harris, I think that defense is way too good. It also goes back to I've been to Athens, Georgia twice, Austin. Right?
Really?
I will never I will never bet against the Dogs. This is why.
This is the first I've heard of it.
This is the first you heard of it. I went to University of Georgia in Athens, Georgia, and I went to a place called 90s Bar after Georgia beat the University of Kentucky, and we danced all night with the most amazing Southern women I've ever met in my entire life. I tell you what, and we started square dancing to Any Man of Mine by Shania Twain, and I loved it, and I was yelling "Go Dogs" the entire night.
Oh, my God.
And guess what? Stetson Bennett, you're Any Man of Mine, so I'm going with you.
Goodness.
Hey, so
I love you, bro.
Because he just said all of that, I'm going with Alabama.
I'm thinking about changing my pick.
Go Dogs, man. Go Dogs.
I can't score that, but I'm right.
Oh,
I
man.
lie to you.
I'm back to Georgia because I know their strength coach Scott Sinclair, and he's a good dude. I think they'll be ready.
You know how sick I got of over the years.
I just vomited in my mouth hearing you tell that story for the third time, Zach.
Stand it.
I'm gonna wash that down right there with
I don't ever
a
want to
ice
drop
cold
90.
Coors Light.
I just want to go back. That's it, man.
I like when Zach tells that story, and I hate when people come and tell me and they criticize Ohio State if they suffer a loss. Iowa or Purdue, oh my God, this would never happen to Alabama. This would never happen to Nick Saban. They never take a week off. They always dominate the teams that they should. Well, if you watch them give up 48 points to Lane Kiffin last week, then shut the hell up about Alabama never taking any weeks off.
Okay.
I don't ever want to hear it again.
I agree.
I'm so
No names going into the playoffs.
I'm
but
so
that was
sick of
myself.
hearing that argument that they're the perfect program and they're ready every single week. It's stupid. I don't want to hear it anymore, and I want them out of the playoff race, and Georgia's going to win.
Dogs.
Go Dogs, 90s Bar.
Yep.
Cranking up Any Man of Mine with Zach Boren.
Jeez. We need to do Lettermen Row Athens. I'm going back, baby. I'm going back.
You gonna fly me out? You got the money.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, you got to bring that cowboy hat.
I
Oh,
got
my goodness.
left
That's
in
going to
the
be
car.
amazing.
No, we need you here on Thursday nights, but you can go down on Saturday for the game, Zach.
Jack's going to be dressed up like one of the village people down there. Let's go.
Stetson the cowboy.
Oh, yeah.
Obviously, our show would not be the same if Zach Boren was down there. Appreciate him. BB Landers, Michael Bennett, Bobby Carpenter, Anthony Schlegel, Urban Meyer hanging out with us at Urban Meyer's Pint House for Weekend Kickoff. It has been brought to you by Bryant Heating and Cooling Systems. Also appreciate Coors Light for keeping these buckets
Thank you,
out
Coors
here.
Light.
And Byers Auto as well.
Thank you, Byers.
Stay with us at Lettermen Row. There's a game next week, so the coverage is about to really ramp up
I
for
can't
us.
wait.
And to everyone here, I think there's some surprises coming next week.
It could be a big week.
There are some big surprises coming, so everyone spread the word.
Who did BB have his first sack against?
Yeah, that was the Rutgers Scarlet Knights.
Scarlet Knights.
Pretty much nobody wanted to guess Rutgers. Nobody could find it out. So whoever wants this Urban Meyer's Pint House T-shirt can probably just come up here and grab it now.
You give it to me. I got it. Let me get the shirt.
Oh, BB gets the shirt. All right, fair enough. All these Buckeyes and Urban Meyer, appreciate you guys. Appreciate everybody for coming to see us tonight at Urban Meyer's Pint House. We will be back next Thursday night for Weekend Kickoff, brought to you by Bryant Heating and Cooling Systems. See you next time.